All right, so I've got my bucket glaze. Now, some of them are really heavy, so get somebody to help you if you need to take them to your table. I would really rather you do this at your table on top of lots of newspaper. Always use newspaper when you do glaze. Do not do it on top of the canvas because we want to keep our canvas clean. So I've got my bucket glaze, cone 5-6, tells me what it is. What we need to do is we need to glaze the inside of our pot first and then glaze the outside. You see that my bottom, my foot is dry-footed, which means that I've waxed it. I need to put this in a smaller receptacle to be able to pour glaze inside first. So what I'm gonna do, because I'm on top of the newspaper, very carefully, is I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. My bucket is on the table. I'm holding my little cup as much as I can on the table. Get a buddy to help you if you need. I have mixed this glaze up pretty well, which means it should all be kind of the same consistency, like a melted milkshake. All right. Now I'm going to pour over a bigger container so that if I pour a little bit out, it's not gonna get outside of the jar or on my newspaper too much. So I'm going to just pour quickly. Once I hit the rim like that, it's gonna sit there for a second, and then I'm gonna dump it in my bigger one because I'm going to do the outside the same color. So now my inside has been glazed, and now I can do the outside. I'm gonna go ahead and pour the rest of that in there. My goal is to make this tall enough with glaze so that I can cover this cup. So I'm gonna pour a lot of this in here, and the reason, again, I'm doing it in this big bucket is because my cup that I fired will not fit in the one that I'm pouring out of right now. This was gonna require a little bit of cleaning at the end. All right, so I'm gonna take this. Remember, we wanna leave a little bit of space at the bottom, so that's gonna have to get wiped eventually. I'm gonna take it and dip it and see how it rises. So that's a good thing I didn't dip it all the way too far. Hold it for a second or two, and then I'm gonna pull it down. That is all you need for dipping your bucket glaze. One dip and one pour on the inside. I'm gonna shake it a tiny bit while it's over it. I'm not flinging it everywhere. It's just going straight into the receptacle. Then I wanna hold it up and just kind of let it drip. See how nice and clean? I have some space. It's okay for it to be like that. You need a little bit of a clean foot on there because glaze will run and then it won't stick to the bottom or the kiln. What I can do next is I can try to very gently set it down. If I touch a spot and it comes off a little bit, as long as I can't see the clay underneath, it's okay. I can take my wet sponge, and while it's still wet, I can try to clean a little bit off. And this is why it's okay to put even a little bit of wax up to here, because it resists it. This may be a little bit easier to do once everything else is dry, but I like going ahead and getting it while it's wet. Again, it will run, so that's okay. All right. So I want to let this dry. I could pick it up very carefully and then take it to the glaze cart to put my glaze journal together. But that would be how I do my bucket glaze. Once I'm done with this big bucket, again, always ask if anyone around you wants to use it. Tell them, hey, it's iron luster, it's cone 5-6. If no one wants to use it, go ahead and pour it back. So with both hands, being very, very careful. If you need a teacher's help, please ask for help. Bucket glazes are super expensive and very messy, so it's really good to get help when you need it. If you have a very clean brush, you can use it to kind of scrape some out, because again, this is expensive. Try to kind of save as much as you can. All from the bottom. Also helps you have to clean less later. Scrape it out. I want to also scrape out from my little one I used. Someone could use this to brush it on too if they want to use some of this in the little one. So you'll take all of this to the outside sink to wash it off, put the lid back on for this, put it back in the kiln room. Once this is dried a little bit better, again, you can put it up on the glazeware cart for it to be fired with your glaze journal. And that's how you do bucket glaze.